So Gordon and I have a lot of fun at work these days because we're really involved in the artificial intelligence side of life, and we absolutely love it. It's the cool new thing. I get it that everyone and their dog has an AI product now. You can probably, I'm betting you can go to Walmart and probably buy an AI toaster or something now. You know, that's probably happening. But what we are is we're going to spend 30 minutes with you now and very quickly go through some different topics on the AI side of it. And I want to introduce you to the three of us. Again, I'm Lawrence Hodgson. I'm a strategic business consultant in that group in the company, and we love to come and sit with you folks in your contact centers and understand your pain points and work with you. We also have Gordon Sexton, who is part of our AI practice, and he is one of the key members of that team that we have really created to work on and push the practicality of AI into your operations and into your sales and marketing so that you can get the benefits therein. And we've got some really cool demos for you today. And finally, Tommy is here. Tommy Minta, give a wave. Tommy is here also, Principal Solution Lead on many of our products, including the AI side of it. So please feel free to talk to the three of us. We're here for today and tomorrow, and maybe we'll see you tonight over a drink. So with that, let's have a quick look at the agenda for this 30 minutes. Number one is just to give a quick intro on the landscape of the CX and the blended AI. And the idea on the blended AI is to say, how can we augment the powers of your agents to do a better job? We're not trying to replace the agents, but what we're trying to do is give them superpowers so they can do a better job. And we're going to actually show you a demo in terms of how that works. So the middle part of the presentation are those two demos that we're speaking of. There's Facebook Messenger. We're going to show you how a company can use Facebook Messenger to do actual secure transactions in a financial sense. And this is not, for example, in this room, how many people have a corporate web page, and at the bottom of the web page you have a number of social channels? You'll have Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. Do folks have that on their websites? Yeah. Those are reactive channels. They're not channels typically to do transactions through. But what we're doing here is something different. It's to say, okay, those channels are fine and good, but let's consider the idea of doing transactions through those social channels. And that's coming. The early adopters are already starting to do that. Some banks are offering Facebook Messenger transactions, for example. We're then going to show you something that I saw relatively recently. Back in July, Google announced a contact center solution set. And Genesys was one of half a dozen vendors or so that was listed as a partner in that release from Google. We were the company on main stage with eBay that day in late July this year who gave a demo of how Google and Genesys are working together. And they gave a live demo on the main stage, and it worked. Thank you, demo gods. And what we're going to do today is show you a Google Genesys voice bot demo, but it's more than that. It's also showing how Google can help with the agent's experience and augment them to help them do a better job. And finally, something that is really, really cool, and I really hope you can get this message, but it's something called Genesys Predictive Routing. And predictive routing, well, what is that? Very quickly, it's simply using machine learning AI to match up whoever is contacting you in whatever channel they're contacting you, match them up in real time with whatever agent is available. In real time, they will optimize a business KPI. So it's all about that improvement of the business side of it. That's very rare, and we're going to show you a set of slides that will indicate what that is. So here we go with a couple of ideas. I think a key thing is to say, as I kind of let off, AI has arrived. I mean, everybody has some kind of AI product these days, so fair enough. Data matters, or data matters. And this morning, Melissa from Prudential, I'm just looking at my notes here, she said several times that to crack the code, data is very important. Companies using AI are using data, and they're kind of taking out the complexity, or they're hiding it inside the machine learning so that the humans don't have to do that, but the AI systems can do that and augment the humans to do more powerful human things. So that's the idea that data matters, and you should mine the data that you have with machine learning to then optimize with some of these demos that we'll show you today. And finally, what we really like to do where we are is have the outcomes driving the point of, like, why are you doing AI? Not because it's cool. You're doing it because it's driving measurable business outcomes. And we'll show you that, especially towards the end of this 30 minutes with the predictive routing. And we've got a slide of 4 KPIs that we've observed. This is real stuff. It's been deployed, and these are what we saw. This is the results we saw. So a quick look here in terms of what we'll cover today. These 4 squares shown here, the one in the upper left, the blended AI, that's the augmentation I've been speaking of with the predictive routing I've been speaking of. So we will cover that towards the end. Below that is AI in emerging channels. And this is what I've also spoken of a little bit with the messaging apps. Again, it's not only Facebook Messenger, but do you folks have a plan for Apple Business Chat? Do you have a plan for that? Do you have a way of interacting with Apple Business Chat, for example? Do you have something going with WhatsApp to do transactions? Do you have, if you have Asian operations, do you have the WeChat application available for your people to do transactions in WeChat? That's huge. If you're in Asia, you need that. How do you do that? And is there an AI way that you can have a bot that works in WeChat, works in WhatsApp, works in Apple Business Chat, etc.? So you need bots to cover all those channels, is my point. And do you have a plan? You need a plan for that, the messaging apps. On the right-hand side, to wrap up this slide before I hand it to Gord, AI-powered sales and marketing. We also have sales and marketing, and a sentence or two from me on that. What this allows you to do is watch in real time people traverse your website, flag the ones that are needing to be a red flag because it looks like they might abandon a purchase, let's say, and then you can push that red flag interaction to an agent, and then that agent can reach out in a chat or a voice call and say, hey, can I help you? And you save that revenue. You save that from losing that. Again, I want to emphasize that's real time on the web. We can actually watch the person traversing on the web in real time and watch them moving through your site. And then route that transaction, that red flag transaction, we can route that to the right person using predictive routing. And then finally, just to wrap it up, the use cases we've got, again, off the shelf, we've got some AI use cases that we can bring to bear on your situations, and we can say this is pre-built. It'll require a little customization for exactly you, but we do have some pre-built use cases that will speed up the adoption of AI within your organizations. So with that, I'll hand this to Gord.
Hi, folks. So before I jump to the next slide, I just want to tell you that I'm going to drill down a little bit on the Genesys portfolio, but more importantly, I want us to answer 3 questions. Very simply, what, how, and why. And the most important one is why. Because I can talk about what Genesys has, how we're doing it, but the real wisdom is in the why, and that's the things that you can take home and think about after this. Whether or not you're a Genesys customer, whether or not you look at Genesys tools, that why applies to how you're going to be successful in your business and how you're going to achieve proper business outcomes and deliver great customer experience. Sound good? So first of all, Kate. Kate is how Genesys has branded our AI portfolio. And really, in the what level, which is generally how people start, but the less important, we're talking about bots, we're talking about agent assist, we're talking about predictive routing, as Lawrence has said. First of all, how many people here, just a show of hands, have a bot, a chat bot, in production today? 1, 2, 3. Very few. How many people are planning within 2019 to have a bot? Okay, about half. Okay. So this shows that we're in early stages, but everybody's thinking about it. What I want to do is walk you through some of the things you might not have thought about that are going to lead that bot towards success or failure, and show you how Genesys handled these challenges. So we went from the what to the how. And then at the end, we'll talk about the why. So as I've said, Kate is the personification of AI technology across the Genesys portfolio. And we all have an idea in our head when I use the word portfolio. But I want to say a word that's more important than portfolio, and that's ecosystem. A portfolio cannot exist outside of an ecosystem. It relies on that ecosystem to function, to thrive, to be capable of delivering value. And when we talk about Kate's ecosystem, I really want to break it down into 3 layers. The first layer, and dear to my heart, the AI services layer, because that's really where my background is from an engineering and technology perspective, has to do with things like natural language understanding, dialogue management, next best action, behavioral prediction. Now, these are all elements that come to mind when we talk about machine learning and artificial intelligence. So we're talking about the natural language IVR, where you can do free-form speech and it understands what you're saying. We're talking about dialogue management, whether that be within the IVR or using the same dialogue manager across chat and other modalities. We're talking about next best action, where you use machine learning to determine, well, what is the moment of truth and how should I react to it? And lastly, we're talking about behavior prediction, whereby we're able to match people up with the appropriate agent to really assist them in a way that it helps you achieve your business outcomes. But none of this works without the appropriate data models and data layer. That's why I use the word ecosystem. Does that make sense to you guys? So Lauren said data matters. Why? From an artificial intelligence or machine learning perspective, if you don't have clean data sets, the AI doesn't work. Okay? I'll say it again. If you don't have the clean data sets, AI doesn't work. One of the things that Genesys brings to the table is that we've been in the customer experience domain in an omni-channel way for the last 20 years. So what that means is that we're already using a single funnel to bring in information around your routing, your reporting, your metadata for inbound voice, outbound voice, web chat, self-serve on the web, social media, back office automation, even walk-ins to the branch. All of that is coming into that single funnel. What does that have to do with artificial intelligence? All of that is feeding a single data set, and that data is already clean. And that's a very important thing. So whether or not you're using our tools or somebody else's, I encourage you, before you start looking at things like natural language, dialogue management, ask the question, what data sets are required? Do we have a data cleanliness assessment going on? Are we setting ourselves up for success or failure? Make sense? Lastly, you want to have the tools that will allow you to manage that data, whether that be about data security, whether that be about data accessibility. A term that we're starting to hear a lot more is data democratization. The ability of different business units within your organization being able to access the data they need to allow their machine learning platform to do what it needs to do to achieve business objectives. Very important. So again, this is the Kate ecosystem whereby we try to achieve all of those things. So we're talking about what we're doing, how we're doing it, and why we're doing it. Now, how does that play into customer experience? We've already talked about one, having connected channels. Not only does that allow us to gather all the data into that single funnel, it also allows us to apply our AI tools in the modality that is best suited to the needs of your client. Some people still like to pick up that 1-800 number, dial it on the phone, and talk. Now, invariably, they'll talk to an IVR first. If we're applying natural language within the IVR, great. But wouldn't it be great also if we can use that same natural language engine in a chat? Where's that chat going to reside? Is it on the website or is it in the mobile app? Which mobile app? Is it through Apple Business Chat? You want to be able to ubiquitously apply these next-gen AI tools across all of your channels. Well, the best way to do that is to have a ubiquitous omni-channel platform. Second, personalized self-service. We've all been in the business to some degree of personalized self-service for a long time. Now, it used to be the only way we could do it is with a personal relationship. My personal banker knows me. When I walk in, he comes out, he greets me, he says, Gord, how's it going? How are the wife and kids? That's personalization. We want to improve that personalized self-service by taking that type of information and applying it to my interactions, whether there's another human being there or not. AI can help us, but only if we have that clean data, as I said before. And Kate's doing that. And lastly, we want to have smarter agent experiences. This means that when I do talk to a human being through the modality of choice, we're giving that agent or that personal banker the tools they need to better achieve your business objectives and give good customer experience to the client. And that's really around providing the information they need, when they need it, in a format that is usable. So what we're going to do now is take a look at how some of this can be achieved. What I've done, or what we've done, is we've clipped part of a demo that we did that integrates Facebook Messenger into the Genesys ecosystem and uses our AI platform, Kate. So I'm going to run that now. We've clipped it down so that it'll fit into the format of our presentation to you. And we'll be available to deep dive on this after this presentation.
And this demo is actually on YouTube as a clip, but we just took a chunk of it so you could quickly see it here.
Okay, so
Facebook Messenger channel. John needs to submit a meter reading. He prefers to do it on Facebook Messenger to save time. He looks for Genesys Energy and begins a conversation with Kate, a customer experience AI powered by Genesys. Kate personally greets him and is ready to help. John explains that he wants to submit his meter reading. Using natural language understanding, Kate processes John's request and guides him through a directed dialogue to capture all the information and complete the request, all automated and self-serve. John is happy with the quick and efficient process. John remembers that he has an additional question about his last bill and requests to speak to an advisor. Kate easily and instantaneously transitions him to John. The advisor gets a notification and can now see the full conversation between the customer and Kate to better assist John. Although the advisor has now taken over, the conversation will continue on the same channel for a seamless and contextual customer experience, reducing effort for the customer and the agent. Blended AI.
So what I want us to focus on here is the fact that we're not taking a third-party bot and trying to kludge it into an existing CX platform. The bot is an integral part of the CX platform. There's no need to use open APIs or try and stitch things in. When the actual human agent is invoked, they seamlessly enter into the conversation and they see full context in real time, out of the box. So that's one of the things that we think having a single ecosystem for delivering great CX using artificial intelligence brings. One of the things I've seen in my consultation with clients is that they'll have what I call rogue chat solutions, and then they say, great, so now when we transfer this, all of that metadata, all the context is right in front of the agent so they can just pick up the conversation, and often the answer is, not really. And then they say, how can we do this? And you start looking for ways to contort the solution to do what you want it to do. And then sometimes the cure is worse than the pain. So what I encourage you to do from a what, how, and why perspective is, what do I want to accomplish? How am I going to accomplish? And the why is, I want to be able to seamlessly transition from a bot to an agent with full context natively. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. And again, the reason for it is that we want to give the agent all the tools possible to succeed. Now, I have one more example that I want to run you through, and this is a little bit different. In this case, we're talking about integrating Kate, which is the Genesys AI, and the Genesys CX ecosystem with the Google Contact Center AI. Now, this is interesting because we got Genesys AI and we have Google AI. We got too many AIs here, don't we? Not really. There's a perfectly good reason for this. And the goal is to leverage different AI components within a single ecosystem. So that means when it comes to predictive routing, when it comes to maybe a chatbot interaction, we can leverage that native Genesys solution. But when there's certain advanced functionality that a partner might have, like Google, and that could be from a analytics perspective, or it could be from a natural language perspective. We use the Genesys bot gateway to seamlessly interact. So what I'd like to do is play another video that shows how this can work. And it has to do with Mala interfacing with Josh within the eBay contact center. And these are actually, by the way, real eBay people. This is something that is actually
Let me jump in here.
Yep.
So this is kind of cool. Mala is a Google employee. She's real. She's not an actress. She's the real thing. Josh is a eBay employee. In fact, Josh won a contest as one of the top agents, so they flew him from Utah down to Silicon Valley, and they recorded this. So what you're about to see is real. Like I actually asked this question of some of our people that provided us with this, and I said, is this artificial? I mean, did they stitch this together and they cut out silences and delays? And they said, no, this is absolutely unscripted, real-time recording of what happened with the integration. And I was very impressed. I have a deep background in speech recognition, and the speech recognition you're seeing here from Google is just like the Google Home units. I mean, people in this room have Alexas, you have perhaps Siri, or you have Google Home. This is basically Google Home that you're seeing here. You could run it through a phone like you're seeing here, or you could run it through a device sitting on your kitchen island. It's the same thing. Or it could be a skill in Alexa, the same thing. But anyway, what we're about to see here, this is the real deal. These are not scripted. I mean, they were scripted in terms of the task they wanted to do, but they weren't told what to say or anything like that. So this is real time, or the real thing.
Hello, Mala. I'm an automated agent. Welcome back to eBay. It looks like we just delivered you white Pamarca size 6 running shoes on June 25th. Are you calling about this order?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, how can I help you with that order?
Unfortunately, they don't fit, so I need to return them.
I can help you with that. I am starting a return for you. You will be receiving an email with the details of your return.
Cool, thanks.
Mala conversed with a virtual agent that understood Mala's intent to return her shoes and automatically fulfilled it. But now Mala needs another, better-fitting pair of shoes. The virtual agent will detect this and will offer to connect Mala to a live agent.
One more thing. Would you like me to connect you to an eBay fashion expert to help find you the right shoes?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Mala now wants to purchase a pair of shoes. Google Contact Center AI recognizes this intent and works with Genesys predictive routing to find the best agent to help. Genesys predicts that Josh, among all qualified agents, is the best matching fashion expert to help Mala at this moment. Mala's call is routed to Josh, including all previous context about Mala's order and her conversation with the virtual agent.
Hello there, Mala. My name is Josh. I'd be happy to help you find the right.
The transcript of Mala's conversation with the virtual agent is visible to Josh, and her conversation with Josh is also transcribed and interpreted in real time. As Josh and Mala are speaking, Agent Assist interprets the audio and builds context on the meaning and the intent of the conversation. This allows Agent Assist to find relevant answers and articles to help Josh in real time.
I definitely recommend tennis shoes since they're designed to have the right support, grip, and to avoid an injury. What type of court will you be playing on?
It will be primarily hard court.
And is Pamarca your brand of preference, or would you like to explore other brands?
I like Pamarca shoes.
Agent Assist detected in real time that another knowledge base page contains the right content for Mala's request and made it available to Josh.
All right. I just searched eBay for you for hard court tennis shoes, women's size 6. And I found a great listing. Would you like me to text it to you, or would you rather receive it via email?
Could you text it?
Certainly. Thanks for choosing eBay.
So one of the things I want to focus on before I move through this quickly is, it went through really, really fast, but what's important is that the conversation between the client and the agent was being transcribed in real time by the NLU, and then based on the content, there was a knowledge search done that would auto-pop to the agent relevant information to assist them. This is particularly important if you have newer agents or less experienced agents, whereby you're automatically giving them the information they need based on real-time transcription. And one element that I want to focus on is that we've looked at integration with Facebook Messenger, we looked at integration with Google. Through our Genesys bot gateway, we've actually demonstrated integration with Creative Virtual, New Echo, API.ai, Wit.ai, Watson, etc. So it's the idea of bring the AI that you want to bring to accomplish your goals, and we'll integrate directly with it out of the box.
Thanks, Gord. Wasn't that cool, that Google demo? It transcribing the audio in real time. Incredible. And then searching that in real time and popping in real time. This is great stuff. It's different. All right, big left turn for the last 7 minutes or so we have. Big left turn. The world's first AI routing engine. This is a native engine to our platform, and this is the so-called predictive routing that I was speaking of. So predictive routing predicts business outcomes. We build models, machine learning. We train on your data to match your customer types against your agent types. And then by speed dating them like that in real time, we can hook them up, and then we get the best business result for you. It can use a so-called infinite number of dimensions. The idea is many of you have got skills-based systems in this room for your routing. Instead of having 10, 20, 30, 40 dimensions, we can put it up to hundreds if you desire to do that. And again, it's machine learning, and it runs across all channels. It's not just voice. You can do it with any channel. So what does that mean? Very briefly, in the beginning was queue-based routing, simple routing. Some of you in the room, hopefully none of you in the room, still have just that. Skills-based routing, that is a humanly manageable set of dimensions. And it does enable complex routing, and a lot of people do very well with that. What we're showing you here today is the third one, predictive routing. This is AI managing a very large set of dimensions, and that's the key. The data drives your model. The data is what drives the predictive routing's business success. It's driven in real time, and we're getting the data from three sources. One is who is the customer, one is who is the agent, and then what is the context of what the customer wants to do. Put those three pieces of data together in a nice large set of dimensions, and you get some wonderful business results. So, in a nutshell, what is predictive routing? On the right-hand side there, you see a funnel. The funnel is what you have today, except for the green part at the very bottom. So in that funnel, you have all agents. You probably apply some business rules with your routing. You then apply some skills for the agents and the purpose of the call or the text or the chat. And you apply that, and then today you simply say, okay, which of the agents in my pool that fit that skills profile should I then push this to because they've been waiting the longest? And that's when I push it, and I push it like that. That's skills-based routing. And don't get me wrong, it is very good. It works the best. But now predictive routing takes us beyond that by using the data to drive that final routing decision. So on the bottom, green, predictive routing, this is what is new, and it predicts the best agent from the agents that are currently available in real time with presence on your system. Now, take a note at the bottom right. There's two agents shown. One is Josh, one is Chris. The two-digit number on the right-hand side is their score, if you will. In real time, this score was calculated from the AI model. And on the next slide, we're going to show you how Josh and Chris, how this worked. So Josh has a 9.1 score, Chris has a 3.2 score. We're going to take that result and move to Josh.
Now, one thing I want to add to what Lawrence is saying, it could be that Josh and Chris have identical or near identical skills. Because when you think of how we are skilled, it's a fairly coarse management. So let's say I have skill 10 in English, 7 in French, 8 in customer service, etc. You might give me 6 or 7 skills, or even 4 or 3. That's a very coarse judgment. And by that coarse judgment, Josh and Chris may be seen as identical by skill-based routing, but they are not identical. They're very different. They're human beings. They have different idiosyncrasies. They have different capabilities in terms of interpersonal interaction. So we're taking a much larger data set to achieve those 9.1 versus 3.2.
Fair enough. So then what happens? What caused that scoring to happen? And this is a simplified version of the predictive routing table. Across the top, you will see a set of parameters which can be used to judge. And across the side, on the left-hand side, you'll see things like age, location, income, channels. That's the customer side of it. So the customer side is vertical, the agent side is horizontal. And you can see the scores then come out. Now, what you'll see, I want you to notice Josh, and then look at the top row. It says Stephanie. Josh and Stephanie actually scored as the top two. Well, why did Chris show up on the previous slide? Why was Chris there and not Stephanie? Now, the answer is Stephanie got a score. Her age and her talkativeness is a measure. And we're really simplifying this, folks. I mean, this isn't the whole thing here. We're settling down dozens of dimensions down to just show you in a manageable way. So this is, again, simplified. But Stephanie came out with a score because she was a talkative agent and her age was in the 20s. Josh came out because he was a talkative agent and he's in his age 30s, for example. And that mattered to this particular customer because the way they lined up, they line up best to agents with those attributes. So we're not saying specifically that caller, but we're saying specifically that caller as an archetype of callers fits with agents of the archetype of agents like that. So you don't have to have seen this caller before, but you need to know something about them. Okay, and what happened was, why was Stephanie not available and Chris was showing up? It's because Stephanie was at lunch. And in real time, she was simply not available. She was at work today, but she was at lunch. So therefore, in real time, we say, well, she's not available. And we keep looking down and we say, well, Chris is available and he's the next. So that's how that works. Is that making sense? You have those two dimensions of agents versus the caller attributes plus the context of what they're trying to do. Is that making sense out there? Okay. So, real world outcomes. This is not pie in the sky. This is deployed, and we are enjoying the business results of this with our customers. Here are 4 business KPIs to pretty much wrap up our presentation here. What we are showing here is on the left-hand side, you can pick different KPIs. And typically when we start them with one KPI, and then they can roll out more than one if they wish to optimize on more than one simultaneously. But initially, we concentrate on one. So some of our customers are getting net promoter scores of ballpark 3 to 4% up. That's what they're getting. Customer churn, look at that number, 2 to 3% reduction in customer churn. That's absolute percentage, by the way. That's not a relative percentage, but that means that someone who was having a 22% churn, they're down to 19% now. That is worth a lot. And that's the kind of business results that we are actually observing with the deployment of predictive routing by simply matching the agent to the caller in real time. FCR, first contact resolution, it goes up, and we're showing here an absolute percent of 3 to 6% improvement. And then finally, the average handle time in terms of, typically we all measure that in terms of seconds spent on a call. And I kind of challenge the room here and I say, who wouldn't want to have their average handle time reduced by 3 to 7% by simply adding another layer of routing on top of your existing routing?
I'd like to add one thing. What you're seeing here, we're not greenfield clients who had badly managed contact centers. We went in with some of our most important clients who had extremely sophisticated skill-based routing already. These are gains on top of that optimized skill-based routing.
In fact, that's the quote at the bottom there. We thought we were pretty optimized. We didn't think we could improve because they had a very, very strong skills-based routing team. And when they put predictive routing on top of it, they got these gains. Not all 4 of them, I'm just saying they got one of these gains. So if you have a team that would like to see a business KPI improvement on metrics like this, or whatever metric you want, we run off your data and your metric, come talk to us. And we'd be happy to talk with you to see if you're a suitable candidate for this kind of AI solution that's coming on. So with that, we will wrap up, and thank you for your time. We are, again, Genesys. Gord is in the, you call it an AI practice group, I guess. Yeah. AI practice group. We have something called an AI CX Journey Workshop. if you're interested in AI, and let me just finish with this thought. You can look at AI. I mean, most people in the room, per Gord's initial survey comment, a lot of people in the room are doing chatbots. Probably some people are doing voice bots as well, like we saw with Google here. Now, that is what I call kind of a bottom-up AI approach. It's bottom-up. You can also take it and say, okay, I know I'm going to do that stuff, but let me look at it from a top-down approach. And that's, do you think in terms of AI and how your, per Gord's comments, how you're going to have clean data? How are you going to architect things? So I would encourage you as a final thought is, think of the top-down AI approach. Know you're going to leverage this stuff. Also think of the bottom-up, and that's the individual point solutions like a chat bot, a voice bot, predictive routing, et cetera. But also think top-down. And AI is definitely worth considering from both the top-down and the bottom-up, and that's how you're going to maximize the value of this. And again, this is real stuff. This isn't a science experiment. Companies are deploying this around the globe today. With that, I'd thank you for your time. And if you'd like to meet with us, we'll be happy to be here for a few minutes, and we'll see you tonight for the reception. Thank you.